The Whale is a superb movie, and I'm not just blowing smoke up Brendan Fraser's ass because I liked him in The Mummy. It's a well-written, poignant, clever tragedy that follows the declining health of a man trapped in a spiral of guilt and depression, who locked himself away for many years, slowly killing himself with food. So after receiving some terrible news, he makes a last-minute attempt to reconnect with his estranged daughter who hates him. So it's not a movie you put on for a casual watch, unless you happen to be a psychopath. First off, it's great to see Brendan Fraser back in the limelight, as he was cast out of Hollywood for having the rarest of things, integrity, and also because he didn't want to suck some random producer's dick.
This is a nice limo.
Yes, it is. Now suck my cock.
He gives a fantastic performance, easily his career best, and if he doesn't win an Oscar, Hollywood is beyond retarded, because not only is he brilliant with the range of emotions he displays, but in the physicality of the role, as we can see how difficult it is for him to move around the apartment. Things we all take for granted, like cleaning yourself and going to bed, is a nightmare for him. I mean, can you imagine how long he must take in the shower just to clean his massive ass?
I wash myself with a rag on a stick.
That fatsuit Brendan Fraser had to wear every day weighs about 136 kilograms, took 4 hours to put on, and he had to be in that the entire time they shot the movie. And yet he hasn't complained about it once. In fact, he seems to be very grateful for his health. What's this? An actor who isn't a narcissistic asshole in Hollywood?
That's impossible!
Now, everyone has gone on about how Jonathan Majors is so good, like he's the second coming, and I have nothing against him personally, but he shows nowhere near the acting ability Brendan Fraser does. Don't believe me?
I need to know that I have done one thing right with my life! Now that's acting!
And it's not just him that gives a great performance, there's an all-round high level of quality that each actor and actress brings to the table, which is a necessity because we only see 6 people in this entire movie, and it's all set in this one apartment, so to keep the audience's interest, you need a strong as fuck script and a talented cast of characters, otherwise it would very quickly turn into boring shit. Luckily for us though, the movie delivers on both counts. Brendan plays Charlie, the main character of the story, who is a morbidly obese gay man, and despite ticking those checkboxes, that's still not enough for piece of shit websites to find something to complain about, like Brendan Fraser wearing a fat suit instead of eating himself near to death to be the actual weight. It's called acting because you are pretending to be somebody, otherwise we wouldn't be watching a drama but a documentary. Now Charlie on one hand is a very nice man who tries to see the best in people and gets along with his friend Liz. Charlie is not an aggressive man, in fact he is very passive, especially when people get angry at him.
Sorry.
What are you sorry about?
I don't know, just sorry.
Are you actually trying to parent me right now?
No, I'm sorry.
You could have just died right in front of me!
I'm sorry.
But as the story goes on, he becomes a lot more assertive, fed up with what's happening around him, and no longer apologises constantly. What is interesting is that despite being a good man, he is also a selfish character that abandoned his family for his gay lover, embarrassing not only his wife but hurting his daughter as well. It's a smart, character-driven story that deals with a few themes, such as depression, guilt, honesty, abandonment, or how selfish decisions can have lifelong consequences, impacting people you never thought it would or meant to. And we see Charlie deal with each one of these issues as he progressively gets weaker throughout the story. Now I'm going to break down the plot, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I suggest you stop watching this video, as you should really watch the movie yourself and enjoy it. Or you can walk away horrifically depressed.
I'll stay.
I also like to live dangerously.
It starts off with Charlie, who, morbidly obese, doesn't even cut it, as he is ginormous.
I've got bigger titties than you do. I've got more chins than a Chinese phone book.
He teaches English classes online and pretends that his camera doesn't work, as he is ashamed by his appearance and is hiding behind a black screen fearing ridicule. After class, Charlie does what every man does when they have access to the internet and are alone. He starts whacking it to porn. He stops when he has major chest pains and drops his phone. With no way to call for help, he decides to read an essay about Moby Dick, but is then saved by Thomas, a missionary from the New Life Church, a sort of fake Christian knockoff. Charlie demands that Thomas read the essay to him, and it eventually calms him down. He stays with him till Liz, his nurse and only friend, arrives. She hates New Life and wants Thomas, who is a new member, to quit the church, as it has ruined both Charlie's and her life. It's also revealed that Charlie is dying of heart failure and only has to the end of the week. Before Thomas leaves, he asks Charlie why he wanted him to read the essay to him if he thought he was dying.
It's a really good essay.
Are you sure about that?
Liz wants Charlie to go to the hospital, but he says he has no money for health insurance. The next day, Charlie is visited by his estranged daughter that he abandoned when she was young, and their relationship is not exactly the best.
You're disgusting.
It turns out that she is failing school, and when he tries to help her, she tells him to fuck off. To stop her from leaving, he offers to give her all of the money he has saved, which is $120,000. Not only that, he says that he is willing to do her essays for her, so of course she agrees to stay. In exchange, all he wants from her is to write something personal and honest to him, as he is trying to get to know her and connect. Liz is against this, as she thinks interfering in her life now is a bad idea, but Charlie meets up with Ellie the very next day. Thomas also drops by to check up on Charlie and wants him to join his religion. He rejects this, and Liz shows up afterwards and tells Thomas in private not to come to the house anymore. She reveals that Charlie's boyfriend was her brother Alan, and that he was excommunicated from the church as he didn't want to marry the girl arranged for him. Afterwards, he began to slowly waste away, not eating and sleeping, before eventually killing himself, which is the exact opposite way Charlie is dying, as he is gorging himself on anything he can find. It cuts to Thursday and Ellie visits him once again. He learns through a haiku she wrote that she hates everyone and is angry because of him. He seeks to correct this and tries to bond with her, but every attempt he makes just pisses her off more and more. She drugs him, renders him unconscious, and takes photos of Charlie whilst he's asleep. Thomas arrives and she begins to pressure him into smoking weed, which is a ploy to get him to lower his guard, and when he does, she reveals to Thomas that she knows he's a fraud. Panicked, Thomas locks himself inside Alan's room and confesses that he grew disillusioned with the New Life Church, as they weren't making a difference, and Thomas actually wanted to meet people and interact with them, instead of just handing out pamphlets on a corner. One day he decided to head out on his own, but stole some money from New Life to do so. Now he's running out of money and doesn't believe that he can face his parents again if he doesn't have anything to show for it, and because of this he believes that only by helping Charlie can he justify what he did and possibly go home. It turns out that Ellie has recorded the entire conversation, but her mother turns up with Liz. Liz learns that Charlie had money the entire time and could have gotten insurance when he wanted. Feeling betrayed by Charlie, she leaves. Ellie leaves as well, collecting her essay, and tells Charlie,
Ellie, please.
Just fucking die already!
What a cunt.
Charlie talks to his ex about Ellie, and she says that Ellie is evil. Charlie doesn't believe her at first until photos of him are posted online, mocking him. Devastated and at his lowest point, he begins to order food. Now, throughout the movie, his food has been delivered by a man named Dan. Dan and Charlie have never seen each other until tonight, when Charlie opens the door and Dan spots him and is visibly disgusted by his body.
That's not very nice.
Charlie goes on a massive self-destructive binge and is pissed off. He also learns that his students are upset with him, so he tells them this.
Write something.
Thomas returns and says that Ellie told his parents the truth about him, that he stole money from the church, but instead of having bad news, he says that his parents have forgiven him and now he can go home. It cuts to Friday and Charlie's class give him some honest responses.
My parents want me to be a radiologist, but I don't even know what that is.
So he decides to reciprocate it by turning on his camera and showing everybody his body. He tells them that honesty and authenticity is the only thing that matters, not school or education, but being true to yourself. Liz arrives and spends the final moments with Charlie, as he says to her that Ellie isn't evil, but was actually trying to help Thomas by telling his parents the truth. Ellie storms in and is angry with Charlie as he gave her the wrong essay and has now failed the class. Well, it turns out that he gave her the Moby Dick essay he constantly reads, and it was her that wrote it when she was young. What Charlie is doing for her is what she did for Thomas. He starts dying and she reads it out to him one last time. He struggles, but he finally gets up and walks across the room to his daughter. The film ends with him floating into a bright light, listening to his favourite essay, as he flashes back to the last time his family was together on the beach, and that's the end of the movie.
I'm sad now.
Now, I think Charlie is the Moby Dick in this story, not just because he is a large man, but because the other characters believe that through him they can solve their problems. Everyone has misconceptions on how to fix their problems. His ex-wife believes that giving their daughter money is more important than him being a part of her life.
I raised her, and you're giving her the money. It's the best we could do.
Thomas thinks that by saving Charlie, he can redeem himself and go home.
I can't go home. My parents probably want to disown me.
So that's why you want to save my dad.
Liz believes that she is the only person who can save Charlie, despite being the one who feeds him, probably because her brother wasted away and is in some way trying to save him through Charlie.
I'm the only one who can help him. You understand me?
And Alan believed that by being with Charlie, he could overcome his spiritual needs.
You think Alan died because he chose to be with me?
The only way for these people to solve their problems, or at least make peace with them, was by being honest. So that's it, that was The Whale. Watch it, it's excellent, and Brendan Fraser deserves that fucking Oscar.